What's up, everybody? This is your host, Chris Naugle, and welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to talk about something that's been broken for a long time, and that's the transfer of knowledge. From generation to generation, the transfer of knowledge has become extremely broken, but specifically, the transfer of knowledge about money and wealth is completely broken. You ever heard of the game telephone? Yeah, that's what's been happening. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about how you can stop that broken transfer, but you got to change it. And you got to change it starting with your children, the next generation. Before we dive in, I'd like to talk to all of you about your journey to becoming a rebel banker. Talk about this all the time. A rebel banker, someone that's independent from the bank, someone that's independent from needing someone else when it comes to money. So on your journey, you're going to need some knowledge. You're going to need some wisdom. You're going to need some coaching, some guidance, and all sorts of stuff. And guess what? I'm here to help. I'm here to help with some free knowledge. And I want to test the most important thing to your success. Do you know what that is? It's called application. Application of this knowledge. You're going to hear some really great things on this episode, but you're going to hear lots of great things throughout your lifetime. But it's not what you learn, what you hear. It's what you apply in your life that's going to change things. So let's test that knowledge. How about if I offered my books? Okay, you can have all three of them, but let's just say Private Money Guide and Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. You want them for free? Great. Apply this knowledge. Go to chrisnaugle.com, Naugle. Just go there. And you know what? One swipe down, you'll see books. Get the free books. While you're at it, why don't you register for the free wealth webinar we do every single Wednesday? We do 7 free shows every week teaching you how money really works, how to break the financial slavery in your life. And that's exactly what it is. So let's dive in. Generation to generation, knowledge dies. From generation to generation, we pass knowledge on. And that knowledge is taught to us from the prior generation, from the people in our lives that we trust, typically our parents, but also could be our friends, our mentors, our coworkers. Wherever you're deriving knowledge, that's where you're getting it. And then from there, you transfer that knowledge on. It's like you ever hear a good joke and then you tell that joke to somebody else, but something happens in the transfer of knowledge. A lot of times the transfer pieces are broken. On that transfer, a lot of times the joke is told differently than what it was told to you. And sometimes it becomes better, other times, and most commonly it becomes worse. Let's test this. If I say the word money, it probably makes you feel a certain way. But let's keep going. What if I say the word mom, love, dentist, colonoscopy? How did each one of those words make you feel? They probably made you feel different than it did the person next to you or another person listening. And the reason for that different feeling on each one of these is your generational experiences, the experiences you've had in your lifetime, but also the experiences prior generations have had with those things. If somebody has had a colonoscopy and they tell you about it, you're probably not going to want to have one. If somebody has gone to the dentist and had a bad experience, they're going to be scared of it, and they're going to tell you to be scared of it. If someone has grown up without money, being told not to talk about money, they're probably going to have a negative feeling when it comes to money. But that same word, money, if somebody grew up around money, typically it's because their parents had that money. I bet you they're more positive when they look about it. Or even if somebody in the middle or somebody on either side of that, haves or have-nots, was brought up to think of money in a positive way as a tool. If they were told positive things about money, then they have a good feeling about that. Let me ask you, what's your feeling when I say the word money? Right there, that explains a lot about your upbringing. That explains a lot about prior generations and generations before them, because somewhere along the line, that generational wealth transfer, and then I say wealth transfer, I don't mean money transfer, the wealth of knowledge transfer was broken. Something happened, and that's where we need to fix it. But it might be too late for some of us to fix it. So when we really think about fixing this, we have to think about our legacy. What is your legacy? What is the legacy you're going to pass on that you're going to be remembered for. And I'm not talking about the car in the garage, the money in the bank, the life insurance proceeds that are going to pay out upon your graduation. No. What would you be remembered for if you graduated today? What would people recall about you? Because they're not going to remember all the fancy things you have. I can promise you that. Those die when you die. They're going to remember the type of person you were, the legacy you left, the knowledge you spread, the people you helped, the problems you solved for others. That's what they're going to remember. So why don't we just start now? Why don't we start with our children? The single most important step, the single most important generation is the generation that is to be our children. If we can fix all the problems and all the cracks and all the breaks in our transfer that we've gotten, our download, if you will, we can change that for the future. We can change the way future generations, starting with our children, starting with my daughter, in my case, we can change the way they view money. We can change the way that they view life. We can change the way they view ego and giving. But not if we don't start and work and apply this knowledge. See, money is a difficult thing. Money, to most people, they look at it as a negative thing. And money is not negative and it's not positive. Money is just a tool. It's like the shovel in your garage. If you wanted to build a beautiful garden, that tool, a shovel, would be necessary. And you can shape and you can dig and you can edge and you can build anything you want if you have the knowledge. Knowledge plus the proper tool is the ultimate. Think of anything that has ever been created. There was knowledge, there was application of that knowledge, and there was tools that were used to get that job done. Every bridge, every skyscraper, every museum, everything started with the knowledge somebody had to do that. That was then applied and tools were used. I can give you all the knowledge. What I can't do is tell you or make you apply that knowledge. I can tell you how I've done it. And then from there, you have to do it in your own way. And you're going to need the tool. Listen, I don't care how you feel about money. It's sort of part of everything. It's just about everything that you are going to need is going to revolve around this tool called money. Can't have cars without money. Can't have houses without money. Can't build businesses without money. And if you have money, that money can work for you. But so many people are in the negative. They're like, well, I don't have any money, so none of this is good. That's the wrong attitude. That's because you are broken. Your generational wealth transfer of knowledge broke somewhere. Because if you think it's all over just because you don't have money in the bank, dude, stop. It's never about your actual resources. It's about how resourceful you can be. That's the thing that matters, not your resources. I didn't start with resources. I had nothing, but I got resourceful. And the thing that I did different than most people is I just worked. I applied knowledge. I didn't sit on my ass dreaming and then saying, oh, wow, someday. I said that someday is now. Every time. I failed a lot. Hey, you're going to fail a lot too, but failure is just another way to learn. And the only way to truly fail, write this down, the only way you can fail is to quit. I just never quit. Certainly probably have failed more than most of you listening. I just never quit. Wanted to. Many, many times. My download, my generational transfer of knowledge would have told me to quit. Would have told me, can't you just be happy? Can't you just be content? When's enough going to be enough? That was what I was told. So somewhere in my upbringing, somewhere in that transfer of knowledge, there were things that were broken from prior generations. And I'm going to just be willing to bet that my story may not be so different than some of your stories. Because we all know that everybody grew up differently. You had different parents, different neighborhoods, different schools, different friends, different activities, different hobbies, all making up who you are today and what you know and how you think today. So there are some simple steps that I'm going to outline here. Some simple steps that you can start changing in your life that then you can start passing this knowledge on, not just by doing and showing, but by telling. You see, you can tell people to do things all day long, but you can lead by an example as well. You need to be that example for your children. Your children will listen to you, but if you don't do what you tell them to do, well, that's just broken. So the first thing you need to do, and I'm going to keep these really simple to save time. If you are not saving, I call it keeping, but if you are not saving 1/10 of the money you make, For every $10 you make, if you're not saving a dollar, you're broken. That's step number one. You got to change that. And stop with the excuses. I can hear it already. Oh, I can't. I don't have that much. Well, go out and work harder. You know what? There's no one I've ever met that's got where they want to be if they didn't do what everybody else was unwilling to do. If you're like, oh, I don't have enough to save, well, then go get a second job. Stop buying Starbucks. Stop spending so much money. I mean, Dave Ramsey, don't really like him, but he tells people that. Do something out of the ordinary so that you can save 10%. Maybe today it's not possible to save 10. So start with 2, then go to 5, then go to 7, but keep track of it. Hold yourself accountable, because if you can't get through this very first step, then the rest of them that I'm going to tell you are a waste of time. Are we clear? Until my daughter understands this first lesson, it's actually a law, but this first lesson, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change for her. So when she masters that and she is saving 10%, $1 for every $10 you make, that's what she's got to do. We can then move on to the next law, or we'll call it lesson, whichever you prefer. Once you start saving money, don't do what everybody else does. Don't give up control of it. Don't go out there and rush out and be like, I need a financial advisor that's going to grow this money, and then give up control of your hard-earned dollars. Because remember, that 10%, you had to work for that. And you probably had to work hard. Heck, some of you had to go out and get a second job, deliver pizzas, do Uber driving when you didn't want to, but you had to make that first step happen. Kudos to you. My hat comes off to all of you that did what everybody else was unwilling to do. But now the next part is an important one, and one that is going to be very foreign for most of you. And that is, your money must go to work. You worked for it. Now, you have to understand that if all you ever do in your life is continue to keep working for money, you will limit the amount you can have, because there are only 24 hours in the day. That is all. Therefore, there are only so few we can give up. And if you trade hours for dollars every day of your life, and that's all you ever do, you are going to run out of time. It's a fact. We're all here for only so little time. So your hours are priceless. You might put a dollar value to each of your hours, but I'm going to tell you right now, you shouldn't. Your hour that you have on this earth, in this life, they're priceless. So why would you want to spend the rest of your life trading a priceless thing for money? You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So I urge you to change the way you think about your money. But again, if you don't save it, the second step doesn't matter. But once you do start saving it, I want you to do a couple things. I want you to stay in control of it. But I want you to learn how to make that money work, because making that money work for you will mean that you don't have to work for it. Does that make sense? But a lot of people are thinking, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to make my money work. Or, the traditional ways to, you think, make money work. Put it in the stock market, put it in a 401k. Yeah, but no, you're not in control of your money there. When you put your money in a 401k, are you in control of that money? You are not. So stop believing you are. I'm not going to go into that. When you put your money in the bank, are you in control of that? Not really. The bank's in control. You gave them control, and therefore they make your money go to work for them. So if banks are so smart at this, why don't we just mimic what the banks do? What do the banks do? Try to play that back in your head. It's pretty simple. You deposit your money at the bank that you worked for. The bank then takes that money and sends it to work. And how do they send it to work? In the form of loans. When they make a loan, they underwrite it. They control the risk, which means they control the aspects of that money going to work for them. And when that money goes out and works for them, it turns them an interest rate. But the interest rate really isn't all theirs, right? Because if they offered to pay you 1% on your deposits there and they lend it out at 5%, they're making a 4% spread. They're making a spread every time on your money working for them. So why don't we flip that? Why don't we flip the script and just make a spread ourselves? Why don't you just become the bank? Oh, Chris, I can't do that. I can't just start a bank, man. That's a lot. I'll never get to that point. Well, if you say you won't, you never will. And it doesn't require you to go dig a hole, put a foundation in, build the walls, put a big sign on the front of this brick building that says, your name bank. All it takes is you doing what a bank does, taking back the banking functions in your life, which then enables you every day of your life for the rest of your life to then have your money working for you. What if you could literally make a spread on your money? And what if your money could work for you for the rest of your life and you never had to work any harder, any longer, or take on any additional risk. Wouldn't that be pretty sweet? Well, it can. It can if you just change where that money goes first. See, right now you're putting money in places that you're not in control. So therefore, all bets off, or all risk on is what I like to say. But if we just change where the money goes first into your private bank, and I explain this all the time, you can find all the videos that explain exactly how to do this. Go to chrisnaugle.com and watch the 90-minute video that pops up, and you will learn how you can be your own bank. You will learn how you can change one thing, and that's where your money goes first. And then your money will earn an uninterrupted compound interest for the rest of your life. And you won't have to work any harder, any longer, or take on any additional risk. And by the way, that place, that private bank, your money will grow in a tax-free environment. But the other part that will enable your money to do is it will enable you to allow your money to then go out and work for you again. I only showed you how to make your money work for you once by changing where it goes, by putting it in your private bank. The second part, what's most exciting, is see, your private bank doesn't just pay you uninterrupted compound interest on that money. Uninterrupted compound interest means that when I take that money out of my bank, I don't interrupt the flow of interest that I'm earning. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? I can save and spend at the same time without ever interrupting the interest I'm earning. Pooh, sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not. It's been being done like this for hundreds of years by the wealthiest families in history, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans, the Stanleys. My gosh, all the presidents, not all, but most have used this, up to the sitting president today. Biden uses this. McCain used it before he died. Kennedy's used it. Yep. Walt Disney, Ray Kroc both used it. Doris Christopher with Pampered Chef. Yep, she used it too. I could keep going on, but it gets boring. So this isn't something new. It's just something you don't know about. It's something you haven't been taught about because it's always been reserved for the wealthy until now. You want your money to work for you? You want your money to work for you twice with the same dollar? Change where it goes first. Take back control of your money and take back the banking functions in your life. It's possible, folks. Watch the 90-minute video on my website, chrisnaugle.com, and you will see the light just like I did in 2014. So if that's the second lesson, what's the third? Well, the third is when you make money, wouldn't it be nice to keep it? This would be protect your wealth. This is something that today most people are failing miserably at. They're not doing a good job of protecting their wealth because they're all getting greedy, which would be the fourth lesson, but they're all getting greedy and they're not doing anything to protect their wealth. And here's the best advice I can give you about protecting your wealth. Do not invest in things that you do not know, like, and understand. Let me repeat that. Don't invest in things that you don't know, like, and understand. Only invest in things that you have knowledge of, things that you have wisdom in, things that you actually like, things that you study, things that you are, that do something for you. Hey, if you like your phone, you love technology, well, then invest in something that fills that need for you, because then you're passionate, then you're involved. Don't invest in crypto if you don't like crypto or don't know nothing about crypto. It's stupid. To protect your wealth. And if you do invest with somebody, make sure it's somebody that you not only trust, because trust can go both ways, but make sure it's somebody that has wisdom, knowledge, and has failed at what they do. And then you can go to trust and all those other things. But again, I would just tell most people, a lot of you are capable of being in control of your money and being a steward of your money. Do you really need to give up control of it? No. People are constantly asking us here at Money School, can you manage my money? And the answer is always a solid nope. We don't manage money. We teach you how to be a good steward of your money, which is what should have happened generations ago. And that knowledge should have been passed on to you, but it wasn't, because I told you it's broken. So now we're changing that. I'm telling you the steps you need to take, the lessons you need to learn, and the laws you need to apply in order to make this change for your children. Time might be over for you. You can still start, but really where the impact's going to be made across the world is your children, all of our children. Okay, the fourth thing that people screw up on, the fourth lesson, what is that? The fourth lesson is FOMO. Well, it's not, but it's do not seek unrealistic returns or your money will flee you. How many of you are out there chasing big returns in a time right now where we are technically in a recession and the market's going to go down? Don't listen to the news. They're going to tell you it's all rosy and perfect. And oh my God, we might actually see the next bull market. Bullshit. Okay, right now we're August of 2022. You know where we're going? Down. Well, then, Chris, why did it go up the last couple of days? Shut your mouth. Of course, it's going to have a couple of bounces. There's people that want to keep it propped up. Some people, institutions need to keep it propped up because they need to get all their money out. They need to get off the boat. And guess what they want you to do? Load on the boat before they sink it. You think I'm lying? Why don't you study history? Because every other time, it's looked the same. More specifically, why don't you just look at 1929, specifically the summer of 1929, and just look at some of the similarities to where we're at today. They call this summer of 2022 revenge summer. Look at what they called the summer of 1929. What happened after 1929? The Great Depression happened. Too many people back then were seeking unrealistic returns, thinking that it was going to go to the moon. And so many people today are seeking unrealistic returns, thinking it's going to go to the moon. Same thing. Guess what's going to happen in both occasions? Your money will be yours no more. So stop being greedy. Start being conservative. It's not what you make, it's what you keep that matters right now. So stop trying to make and hunker down. It's about preserving and protecting the money you have. We can make a whole bunch of it once we've mastered the other things. The fifth lesson. You should already know this. You should already be doing this, but I bet you're not. Everything you do every single day at your job, at work, at home, everywhere should be to solve somebody else's problem, not your own. Are you doing that? Or are you just so focused on your own problem, paying your rent, paying your car payment, getting this Rolex, getting that thing, getting this thing? Are you focused only on that? And are all your actions you do so that it's self-fulfilling for yourself? It's called greed, folks. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose it all. Might not be tomorrow, but you will lose it all. But if you just change the thought process and all you do is focus everything you've got on solving a problem for someone else, your problems will all be solved. Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what they want, you shall get what you want. The Bible talks about this, everything else. So why are you not doing this? Generational transfer of knowledge is broken. You got greedy because someone back then told you that you should focus on these things, that you should want these things. I'm course correcting you right now, but again, you got to course correct this for your children. Teach them to give unconditionally, and teach them now. The very last thing is your legacy. What are you going to be remembered for when you go? I opened with this and I'm going to close with this. You should be focusing on that legacy. And the legacy isn't money or material things. It's what people say about you when you're in the grave, when you're off to a better place, when you've graduated. What are people going to remember you for? What kind of person were you? Did you give? Did you solve problems? Were you a positive person? Did you help others? Did you teach others? Did you help your daughter or your son learn these important lessons that I just outlined? Did you write them down? If you didn't, you can just go back and re-listen to this. Folks, if you don't start now, the generational wisdom that is going to pass on to your children and their children and future generations of children is going to get worse and worse. It's going to be more and more broken. It's going to be more and more negative. And you know what's going to happen there. Negative thoughts, they manifest more negative thoughts. Positive thoughts manifest more positive thoughts. The tool, if it's turned negative, negativity manifests negativity. If the tool is turned to a positive thing, the tool I'm talking about is money. It projects and manifests positivity. I hope you're paying attention to this. This is some of the most valuable stuff I can ever give you. But it's not about what you just heard or what you just learned. It's about what you apply. It's about how much of an effort you make to stop this generational storm, this generational break, whatever you want to call it. You got to stop it right now. And you got to stop it starting with your children. You don't have any children? Find someone else's children to start teaching this to. Find friends that you can start showing them how you've changed your life by applying these simple lessons. I gave you 6 lessons today. Go apply them. Let's test that application of knowledge one more time. Every week, I do 7 live shows that are all free. The Wealth Webinar, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. You can go to chrisnaugle.com and you can register for that webinar and you can get all this knowledge deeper into each one of these different topics and then lots of other stuff. You want to become your own bank and learn what that one private bank was that I mentioned? Go to chrisnaugle.com and watch the 90-minute video that pops up right in your face. Don't click the X, watch the video. Oh, you don't have 90 minutes right now? Make it, find it, put it in your calendar. Nothing's ever going to change until you change it. Nothing's ever going to happen until you become resourceful and start applying some knowledge. You just go out about life just seeking knowledge and trying to gather as much knowledge. Nothing happens. Look at most engineers. And no disrespect to engineers, but a lot of engineers are so smart, but they never do anything because they can't make everything fit in a little square box that they have created in their own minds. Get outside the box. Do more than what others are doing. Do what everybody else is unwilling to do, and do it now. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you on the next one. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. We're putting up tons of them, but I think if you like this one, you'll probably like that video as well. Not only that, I've got a book that I created, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, where we actually show you what the wealthy do in the game they play with money. I want you to have that for free. And if you want to know about all my new videos coming up, click that alert button. Actually, smash that alert button, and you'll be notified every time we put a new video. So we'll see you on the next episode.